Good morning. It's a chilly morning here in Colorado, even though we don't have any snow yet. And this is my kitchen. You can see I have a busy refrigerator back there with all kinds of inspiring messages and different places I've traveled to, things that make me happy. So that's what my refrigerator looks like at the moment. A couple things that I'm gonna actually show you how to make a butternut squash soup. So let me say that first. But some other thoughts that came up before we get started, because I've got everything ready, so it should be fairly quick that we can do this. But I wanted to mention a few things. One is, when you're out shopping, when you're buying items, whether you choose to cook or not cook, or it's prefab food, check the labels. Begin to learn that you have to read labels. It's absolutely necessary nowadays. There are things that are GMO. There are things that are filled with monosodium glutamate. These are all things that are not good for you, as well as all of the different items that are additives, including sugar and salt, that are added into food items now. And, there's kind of a rule: if you don't know what it is, then it's probably not something you want to eat. So that's kind of the rule you can use, but know what you're eating. That's really important. I talked about food being medicine. It's also, there are people that respond differently to different kinds of foods. If you're on medications, if you have health issues, and most people do nowadays, you want to check in on a food on the internet and see if there's any issues that might conflict with you eating that particular item. An example would be, diabetics. There are various forms of sugar. You may, if you don't look at a label, you may assume that there is no sugar in it, or other items. Interestingly, lentils, which I have shared with you about, lentil bread, is not good for people who suffer with gout, and I'm sure other kinds of inflammations. It activates that problem. So, and of course, high blood pressure, and a variety of other things. So just read your labels and be aware, do the research if you're putting a new food into your diet to be sure it's going to be something that agrees with you. And the other thing is, which I'm guilty of, don't overdose on the food. In other words, if I really like something like the lentil bread, I'm eating too much of it, then I may have a problem with that. So remember, everything in moderation is a safer way to go. Do your research. The other thing is that people have objections also to things being too expensive. These are the reasons that they don't cook. I don't have time. There's no equipment to cook with. And so what I'm going to say is, I spent 2 months in Mexico with a small toaster oven, a single hot plate, and a blender, and was able to cook for myself with just those items and the basics. So you can do it, and you don't have to get the top-notch pots and pans or fancy things. If you have an oven, like you can see in the background, my oven that I have, small countertop oven that does a variety of things, that's pretty much the one that I use for everything. And rarely do I ever turn the large oven on at all. So that's it on that.